Hi, it's Erica. So I'm gonna take you along the journey of my birth story. It was a long story and I'm gonna smush it down to this much. I didn't record everything, but I did record some stuff along the way so we get some live action shots. So I was 41 weeks pregnant. I was supposed to go get induced at 9 o'clock that morning. So I called them at like 7 or 8 and they're like, oh, could you wait a few hours? So I ended up not going in until like 2 o'clock that day. Hi, it's Erica and my mom. We are about to go and take my baby out. But it's not as bad as it sounds. This is my final supper before they make me not eat anything else at all except for juice and chicken broth. So it's like a pregnant lady's worst nightmare, but it'll be worth it because I see my baby. Yeah, so it's exciting. So I get there around 2:30 and they immediately start inducing me. They first put in some stuff that's supposed to soften my cervix because I was like dilated 0 and my cervix was still very high and closed and not ready to have a baby. So they put some stuff in that was supposed to soften my cervix. And then after like an hour, they came back and checked. They said it was soft. And then they started to drip the Pitocin. And the Pitocin is basically what starts your labor. So after a while, it was a few hours of the Pitocin. And I finally got to like 0.5 centimeters. And the doctor comes in and he wants to put in a Foley bulb or Foley balloon. And it's supposed to actually just go in there and expand to open up the cervix. My cervix is entirely too closed for him to fit it in. It felt like torture. So I pretty much hated that guy. He said, okay, well, it's not gonna fit. We'll try again later. So he came back and maybe a couple hours later and he tried again. I was at about 1 centimeter at that point and it went in. He had to put, I think, four of them in. And they start out small, I guess, and then they get bigger. I don't know. He put those in and they felt like death coming to my vagina and I didn't appreciate it. So they said they're ready to come out when you can just pull them out. So finally they get big and they do whatever they're supposed to do and they pull out. So at this point I think I get to about 4 centimeters and I'm like, yes, I'm getting somewhere. And it's maybe 4:30 in the morning and I feel these two pops, like pop pop right in here, and I like jump up like, what the heck is that? And then I start leaking water. My water broke. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? So after my water broke, I started to feel the contractions. And I'm like, okay, let's get this epidural man in here like right now. So he came in. Oh, it was not a fun experience to have an epidural put in, but he did it. Time goes on. I think my cervix is finally opening up a little bit. It gets to like 7.5, 8 centimeters. It is now 12:53 and I'm about 7 centimeters dilated. 3 more to go and we can start pushing. In the room we have my husband DeAndre. I don't know what that is. What he's doing. Delivery hand. You don't have a delivery hand because you are not delivering a baby. I'm not pulling him. You are not pulling a baby anywhere. But thank you for the offer. We have my cousin Yvonne, my grandma Dale, and over in the corner we got my mommy. I did end up having to get an epidural, which I didn't really want, but it feels pretty great, so I'm not complaining. So we'll be going through the rest of this process for a while. And I hope everything turns out amazing and I get to see my baby in like the next 4 hours at least. Yeah, I need to hurry up because I'm ready. It's now 6:43 or something, close to 6:45. I'm still 8 centimeters dilated. My nurse said it's possible that he's 2 feet 3 and he gets a big head from his father. So I'm gonna blame D on that one. No, son. But I am in a bunch bunch of pain because this epidural is not doing the best job of loving me. The doctor should be in there about 15 minutes to check in. I need to be 10 centimeters because I need to push a child out of my vagina right now.
Then it stayed at 8 centimeters for a very long time. And then he finally starts moving down. It gets to 9.5 centimeters. At this point, my water probably been broken for about 17 hours. The doctors came in, they kept checking. They said I could either wait to see if it would get that last centimeter or half centimeter, and then I could start trying to push, or I could get the C-section.
I have to have a C-section, but maybe it'll be safer than not do it that way, so gotta do what you gotta do.
The reason I chose to have a C-section was because my baby was not in a good position to push. He was apparently turned sideways. She reached all the way inside and tried to turn him, and he turned all the way back around. Then she reached again and tried to turn him the other way, and he turned back that way. So he just wasn't in a good position to push anyway. So if I would have waited, then that would have been more of a chance of me and my baby getting sick and causing more problems. And then he still may not have been in a good position to push. Or go ahead and get the C-section and don't risk the sickness. So finally they, you know, cut everything. I can feel all this tugging.
I'm so sorry.
Erica's smiling.
Surgery went great. Hi.
Don't cry. Don't cry. Oh, he's so cute. Isn't he? You hungry? You look hungry. Yeah.
He does look hungry. You ready to feed him?
I'm ready to try.
So after all of that tugging and pulling, this guy appeared. And he was so beautiful, and he weighed 7 pounds and 15 ounces. It was a very straining experience, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change him for the world. I wouldn't do anything differently. This is my love, my baby, my chunky man. Bye!